Director of Finance Transformation and Operations, Ng Yen Tiong. If you have any questions for them, use the chat box to post your questions and we will try our best to answer them. Questions that are selected will receive a prize at the end of the session. We will announce the winners. So our very first speaker for today is the Director of Rewards, Performance here at Prudential. She began her career in an accounting firm while obtaining her qualifications as a chartered accountant, before moving to a consultant role prior to joining us here at Prudential. So with that, let me introduce you to my favorite, Tan Moy Sim, who will be speaking on the new recruitment landscape. Hello, Moy Sim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure is mine.
It's so good to have you here, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So could you please give us a short introduction of what your role is here in Prudential?
So I head up the rewards, performance, HR business partner functions, as well as the operations side of things. So what does it mean? So rewards and performance means that I look at compensation and how that is linked to performance, and we also business closely to move forward strategically, and one of the function is obviously recruitment, which is why I'm here today.
That's great. Thank you for that lovely introduction. So especially in this time of pandemic.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of months we see a lot of changes,
yes,
right? Because of the pandemic. So what I see means, right?
Yes.
Yes, so in Prudential we do the same thing as well. So during the MCO, we continued our interviews, we continued our candidate profiling, we continued with the assessments. All of this were done virtually on video.
Oh, so no longer in traditional for that moment.
Yeah, at least it kind of, moved us towards digital and using technology. And I'm also very proud to say that throughout the MCO for Prudential, we continued to onboard our new hires virtually.
Oh, yes. I see. That's great. What has changed for the recruitment or interview process now that we're in the new normal?
Well, obviously a lot of our managers do prefer a face-to-face.
Yeah, because that way you can understand and then, have that feeling of that person.
Yes, it's easier to assess,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
When you see each other.
You can study their behaviors and get to know them more.
Yes. So what we have done now is we've sort of brought that into the virtual world. So now we're doing video interviews. So I can still continue with the interview process. So even though initially it was a little bit harder, but yes, I think we have we've adjusted to it pretty well.
Yeah, since you said like the selection and interview process are done virtually, right? Isn't that some sort of, there are some challenges, doesn't it? Like you don't know which candidates are suitable, yes. Am I right?
Yep.
So how do you select a suitable candidate, and what makes an application stands out from like thousands of applicants?
Well, obviously the first thing that we will get is the CV, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the document that sort of differentiate you against the other applicants, right?
Take notes, huh?
And very clear.
Short and simple,
short
sweet.
and sweet. Yes, yes. And I think a plus point would be to have a tailored cover letter that is for the organization, so that the company knows that you're genuinely interested in the company and the job as well.
Oh, okay. So before we go, are there any tips you can share with our graduates to help with them with their job hunt?
Well, I think keeping a very positive attitude. We like people with very high energy as well, right? People who's very passionate, as also people who share the same values as us in Prudential, right? I think communication, as I mentioned earlier, is very important. Yeah, being articulate and concise is definitely an advantage. And obviously asking very good questions during interviews would help as well. Yeah. I think what I see is that people need to keep very open.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know, as Anissa mentioned earlier, I didn't start off, you know,
In the HR, you were in an accounting firm, right?
Yeah.
That is such a big transition, honestly, from numbers
Yeah.
to people.
You know, you are like climbing a mountain, at least for me, right? I'm climbing a mountain, and then you're halfway through, you realized,
You're on the wrong mountain.
yeah, it's not the right
Like,
mountain.
oops, I need to reverse.
Yes. So I think it takes a lot of courage, right, to accept that, you know, you may have made, it may not be a mistake, but it's not something that you want to do,
Yes.
right? So come down, go to the next mountain and climb up. So to me, resilience is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's a learning process, you know. There's
So,
guys, if you have any questions for Moisin, please write it down in the chat box below, and I will try our very best to answer them.
I think in the meantime, I would also like to say that for those who are interested, please deposit your resume with us. I think the link will be shared. Malaysia Berhad.
So, are there any questions out on the audience? Okay, let's see. If I were an audience, what would I want to know? To secure the interview and to ace it.
Okay, so I mentioned the CV is a good start, right? So a tailored CV is a good start, right? But what do you do during the interview, right? Be punctual, right? Be respectful, be kind to everybody that you interact during the interview process. Also, like I said, ask questions, right?
Yes.
And also updated LinkedIn profile as well, right? That's how a lot of recruiters.
Okay, let's see. Another question that I would think of would be what recruitment innovations will be carried forward or would be foresee to carry forward into the future?
Well, like I said, because of the pandemic, a lot of things are being moved from a physical setting,
Interaction,
right? Yeah, to a online or a technology
Yes.
sort of system. So I don't know. I'm just guessing. So maybe in the future we see more and
Questions out from the audience? Okay. There is one question. Let's see. Okay. Are there any opportunities for training and progression within the role of company? Within the role or company?
Karen, my colleague, will go through that shortly. So we do have a lot of programs, and one of them, like what Anissa is going through, which is our professional associate program. And within this organization, we also have structured learning as well as on-the-job learning, right?
Yes.
So I think we do have a lot of programs catered for different types of functions.
Okay. I see there's another question.
Right. So coming from a prestigious university usually, you know, catches the attention, right?
Yes.
But like I said, to me, once that gets you through the first hurdle, the interview is very important, yeah? How you present yourself, right?
Personality and attitude that counts.
Yes, the attitude is very important, right? How do you interact with people, right? Like I said, being articulate, communication skills, especially in this current age and time, is so important. Yeah.
All right. So is there one more question? Okay.
Okay. So that's a
That's
little
a very
bit
good question.
Yeah. That's a tricky one, right? So I think it depends on the role that you're. Leadership skills are important, like I mentioned earlier, in this, day and age, right? As we continue to evolve, right? Having good leadership skills are very crucial. But if you ask me to pick between the two, I would say it's a little bit difficult. I'm greedy.
It depends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much again, Moisim, for joining me today. So now that you have a better understanding on what the new recruitment landscape is like, do you have the essential skills needed? Okay, welcome back to the future of work in insurance. Our next speaker is a HR practitioner with extensive experience in finance in various. Please welcome Karen Au. Hello, Karen. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Because it's always morning in Prudential, am I right?
It is.
So, could you please share with us a little bit on your role here in Prudential?
Sure. So with Prudential, I'm already 11 years with Pru, and it's still
That's
going
a
very,
long
very
time.
strong. It's a long time. In my current role, what do I do exactly? I do oversee learning and development. So basically what I do is that I take care of the, so we're talking about building capabilities as a business. So in talent management, I partner and I support the chiefs in talent matters such as career conversations, their mobility, their next move, and also planning for succession to help the organization to. What it is all about is that we talk about people engagement, which is something that's very key in the organization, and we're building towards a compelling employee experience. So we talk about customer experiences. So
this is employee
internal,
version.
we talk about employee version of experiences.
All right, so thank you for that lovely introduction. Since you're in charge of learning and talent, I'm pretty sure the audiences are eager to know what capabilities are useful to excel in the future and where can we gain all these skills?
This is a favorite question that a lot of people like to ask.
Yes,
and when
even
we talk
I would
about,
like to know.
Yeah, and when we talk about future, for Prudential, future is actually now. So if we talk about a lot of capabilities, there are strings of capabilities that everyone will tell you all these things are actually needed. But if you tell me, if you ask me, there are a couple of things that I think that's really important in the future. I think where we are today, we are dealing with a lot of data and a lot of information out there, and it's so easily accessible on the social media platform and also in the corporate world as well.
Yes.
I think one of the best things is that we need to learn is to be comfortable with data. How do we navigate them? Because these data, when you put together, it gives you a lot of information. It gives you patterns, it gives you trends, it gives you insights that
So
at the end of the day,
analyze.
you can analyze and give you, you know, and help you to anticipate business decisions.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. Back then, we talk about data, you know, we think about finance, we talk about the actuarial, people really deals with the numbers.
Yes,
But I
exactly.
think across the organization, in every function that you see today, it requires some form of a data and information. Because
Okay, so with the sudden announcement of MCO and having to pivot working from home, how has this changed the way we work and communicate?
Fortunate that in Prudential, we are an early adopter of an agile work environment. And we used to work in an environment where it is more conventional, I would say. You can see it, you know, where we sit into a new work environment. We call it agile work environment.
Yes, so you can sit anywhere we like, is
it's
it?
an open space, it's totally agile, and it is planned, and it is technology enabled. That means there's no phone lines. You can be reached. So when we talk about COVID-19 itself, when this thing happens, when there's a lockdown, so it's very fortunate we've already moved into this environment.
Exactly, it was very easy for us to adapt because there's the Microsoft Teams, and then we could just easily just call anybody else from at home, right?
That's right. So it's, you can just connect wherever you actually want. So that's really wonderful. So during this period of time, you find that we can hold town halls, we can hold meetings, we can do presentations, you can even do
homes.
That's right. So you can still be able to deliver the goals, you know, in the business. So there's a lot of continuity, continue to reach out to customers as well.
But then there's still a lot of distractions at home, isn't there?
Yes,
still
I think
challenges.
we will all learn and adapt and adjust accordingly in that kind of an environment. Yes, you're right.
So, okay, let me ask you this question. How has the new ways of working impacted the culture at Prudential?
How has the new ways? Well, well, if I talk about the environment first, is that it's agile, right? So I think what it has actually done is that it's broken down a lot of the barriers that we used to have in the old office. So we talk about about greater collaboration, we talk about being able to connect with people, and you have got bosses who sitting all around you. So it just breaks down all the siloness and it just foster a lot of collaboration.
I feel like there's more support right now in
that is
the
right,
Prudential culture. Yeah.
You can just walk across to another division and have a conversation. And with the technology, I think it really helps because you can work anywhere and anytime. It is so easily accessible.
Yes, exactly.
So it just makes things and brings us to a whole new level. So when we talk about COVID-19, we're at home. Now we're even thinking about, just that maybe working from home is also another feature that we can actually explore. So isn't that great? I mean, we're talking about,
actually.
We're talking about our purpose, making the always say, things that we used to think that it wasn't possible,
it's possible
it is
now.
actually possible now, because with the lockdown, you have tested so many things and it has opened up so many possibilities.
Yes, exactly. So guys, if you have any questions for Karen, please do write it down in the chat box and I will pick it right up and then I'll straight away ask Karen.
So maybe in the meantime, I also like to just add on a little bit about,
Go ahead.
I was talking about capabilities, right? One of the fundamental, stay current and relevant, learning agility is really important. Alvin Toffler, there's this author that says, learn, unlearn, and actually relearn. So that statement has never been more relevant than it is today.
Exactly.
In the past, we learn something, it takes time for it to go obsolete. But now you think about learning something in 6 months' time, you got to relearn it altogether. So having that growth mindset, keep learning, keep networking is something that that's really timeless and is really crucial for us to go forward in the future.
Hear that, guys? Okay, so I hear there's a lot of eager audiences out there who would like to ask, how would you describe the ideal talent for Prudential? For Prudential. For Prudential, are there any different qualities that Prudential are looking for?
I love that question. First thing first is that what I will look into when it comes to a talent is really I want to look for someone who has got real aspiration, tall aspirations, someone who is really committed, someone who's actually ambitious and passionate about doing and bringing their strengths on board. So that's something that's very important. The second thing that I also look into when I see a talent is really about their agility. So just now I talked a little bit about learning is one of them. We talk about people agility, the ability to connect with people. We talk about mental agility, and now we're going through a lot of change. We talk about change agility. Now that is really crucial.
It's the ability to adapt to anything, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Because I believe that skills and knowledge you can actually acquire, and that's the third ability. But it is something, if you really have the desire, you have the aspiration wanting to get there, it is something that you, in Prudential, we use the 3 A's. We talk about aspiration, agility, and ability.
That's great. Okay, one last question from the audience. There are companies out there that have implemented working from home as a more permanent option. Is this the direction that Prudential is looking towards?
Just now I talked about possibilities, right? Because this COVID-19 really allow us to experiment things that we think that it is not possible. It is something and during this period of time, it is something that we have tested and it didn't impact, and it is all about how ready we are in terms of preparing that platforms, technology enabled or not, and into and might be a feature in the future.
Okay, one last question before we wrap up. Do Prudential hires have to be
opportunities, we also have the entrepreneurial
Yes,
opportunities as
opportunities.
well. So when we talk about the entrepreneurial, then we talk about the agents, you know, where we talk about,
That's where I am,
tincturing
yes.
people, yes, where you are. But the other side is really about corporate opportunity. And I think STEM is something that is also highly valued. You have the maths there, you have got the science there and all that. And it is something that can be of good use across in any function that comes along. Prudential, so if entrepreneurial track is not for you, corporate opportunity is
Might be
huge.
for you. Yep.
Lots of opportunities here. So please apply to Prudential, yeah?
Okay, thank you, Karen, for sharing with us on how to elevate our skills and how NCO has helped us to communicate and work effectively. I would like to say a quote. As Robert Greene, a famous American author, once said, "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." So please stay with us for our next speaker, who will be sharing on helping people get the most out of life. Thank you. And we are back with the future of work in insurance. Here at Prudential, we place a big importance in putting the needs of others before our own. Our next speaker is here to share some of the examples of what we have been doing for our customers and communities. She has been instrumental in building the Prudential brand through innovative brand engagement initiatives and drives the company's community investment agenda in these three key areas: financial protection, financial education, and disaster preparedness. She is our Chief Brand Officer, Fiona. Hello, Fiona. Thank you so much for joining us today.
So good morning.
Good morning. So would you like to introduce yourself and share with us what your role is in Prudential?
Sure. So I've been with Prudential for 12 and a half years.
My goodness, that's a very long time.
Call it, and it's actually part of the marketing team, right? So what we do is we actually lead the company in terms of branding, so advertising and promotion, in matters like traditional. So, you know, all your outdoor billboards.
Oh yes, I've seen it a lot on the highways.
But also digital, right? So Facebook, social,
on the radio.
Correct, radio, etc. Right? So traditional and digital. We also head up, obviously, so internal comms as well, and of course my favorite, CSR. So we do a lot of community work, but our main role actually is to make sure that we journey with the customers, right? Because our products are really products that support the customer from womb to tomb, right? Because we actually have products that
caters from the inside.
Yeah, I know, right? Before
gestational week to the
before they are even born. So I think for us as brand people, right, we need to make sure that our brand really lives, which is messaging. We need to make sure that it's relevant. So depending on who the target audience is, we need to make sure that it's engaging. So we need to reach out to them, and also most importantly, we need to make sure that our messages are responsible.
Yes. So thank you so much for that kind introduction. So we're going through an unprecedented time due to this current health crisis, right? So more than ever, health and protection, it's
primarily is to make sure we educate and increase awareness on the needs of insurance, right? It's very important that people understand why do they need insurance, because insurance ensures people have peace of mind in the event of anything unfortunate happening. And I mean, very simply, let's say for example, death or serious illnesses, right? So for example, take a family, right? If anything happened to the breadwinner, you want to make sure that the children, the family members, their life can go on. Or in the case of, you want to make sure there's dignity, right, for that person, so that they can have the best medical care. Or it's also about achieving dreams, if you think about it, right? It's the best education you want to give your children. So all that is important, right? And if you think about it, it's also what we do is very interesting, right? This is an analogy that I always like to put, right? If you think about it, we ensure that people get the best medical care, but we're not doctors, right? We make sure that children get the.
We're not teachers.
We're not teachers, but we make sure that people can save and achieve their dreams for their children.
Exactly. So with the COVID-19, it has disrupted many lives, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So what
continuity was key to it. We made sure that we really lived our commitment to our customers. Okay, that was key. Second thing was communication, right? With everything happening, there was so many ambiguity, right?
Yes, exactly.
So many new SOPs that needed to come into play, so many regulation, you know, government was telling us so many different things that we had to make sure that we adhere to, because we want to make sure everybody is safe. So communication was key to many stakeholders, right? Internally, we need to make sure agents, externally to customers, that was key as well. And even working with the regulators to make sure that everybody knew what was going on, right? So that business could continue, so that we could continue to service our customers. But also, I think at the different stages of the COVID incident, right? If you think about it, pre-MCO, so we worked with media companies, like for example Astro, I think you know that. We worked with Astro Radio, we gave out care packs, we sent out a lot of information on how, you know, public could, you know, do all these preventive tips, you know, all this wash your hands things, right?
I've heard it on the radio, that I've seen the posters and all.
Right? And that was pre-MCO, so we already started that to begin with. But then later on, what we realized was when MCO hit, we really needed to up our game, right? Because there's all our CSR initiatives. So one of the initiatives that we do say, communities.
Oh.
So we have about 30 communities that we actually are under our wing. And what we realized was these communities got into a lot of issues because obviously they couldn't work.
Yes.
And so we upped our game. We worked with our NGO partner. We actually had a donation drive. We did everything we could so to make sure that at least and we carried that on as well. So for example, now we're at the recovery stage, right? So what do they need? They need masks because they need to go out, they need to find work.
Yes, exactly.
And also we just started our entrepreneur program, and this helps those people who had lost their jobs to really find new source of so they can continue with their livelihood. But in addition to that, we also upped our game on that, right? We were the first, one of the first insurers to actually give additional coverage to our customers, a special COVID-19 special coverage. But we didn't stop there, right?
Yes.
Because we really felt that we had a duty to protect all Malaysians.
Exactly.
So we also offered a protection plan, a coverage, a COVID coverage for non-customers.
That was for the Pulse app, am I
Exactly.
right?
So if they had registered in the ad before end of June, they would have been covered by a special coverage. So that we wanted to provide financial freedom and peace of mind for all Malaysians.
So is there a QR code that they need to scan?
Yes, we'll show that later.
Later on. Okay. All right. So, okay. Thank you for reminding us that the financial protection is for the long term, Fiona. So,
Sure.
can you share with us what are some upcoming plans for Prudential?
Well, you know, COVID is a big thing now, right? It's in the news. But the reality is COVID is not the biggest or scariest illness out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Cancer, heart attack.
Yeah, and those are the top killers in Malaysia. So
exactly.
critical illness is a huge illness that we need to look into and have protection against, right? So we've just launched a campaign, and to us, two things are important, right? Education and awareness.
Yes.
Why I say education is because everybody knows about medical plans, right? You know, if you go to the hospital, you need a medical plan. But not many people understand. So what it is actually a lump sum payment, right? A lump sum payment in the event that you're diagnosed, and depending on the plans that you buy, of course, with critical illness. That will help with the expenses that are not related to hospitalization. So for example, if you need extra care or if you need treatment that's not covered, etc. So that's important. Second thing is the fact that critical illness, right? A lot of people think that it won't affect them. Right?
Yeah, it happens to everybody, whether they're young or they're old.
Exactly,
So
right.
everybody can get it.
Critical illness does not discriminate. So that was one of our key messages as well. So what we did was to bring out these key messages, we worked with KOLs, right? Key opinion leaders. And in this instance, in fact, we have a video all primed up. So we worked with this lady called Emily Tan. I would like to showcase her video. She had leukemia, right? At the ripe age of 32, right? And the reality is she is a health and fitness professional. So even if you're fit, you can be hit by a critical illness. So, but luckily she had insurance. So
Thank God.
Baby,
Let's play, yeah.
Coming from a background of being fit and healthy most of my life, it was definitely a shock. I actually didn't know how to take it. I think I was just overshocked. When I first heard the news, financial aspect was definitely like the forefront of my worries. But since having gotten insurance, my focus into healing, it cleared up headspace for me. I wanted to make survival my priority. Nothing else mattered. If I survive, then I can be there for my family. With the ease of the financial burden, it has helped me and my family come together and support each other. Having insurance coverage, I now realize I didn't have insurance.
overlook it. So it is important to take care of our health now. If I may quote, Mahatma Gandhi did once said, "Health is the ultimate wealth." I have one more question. Do you have any parting words for us since
Before you join any company, find out what their purpose is. And in Prudential, right, we really want to, what?
we really want to?
And what is our purpose, Anissa?
To get the most out of life.
Exactly, right. We want to help people get the most out of life. And that is a really good and strong purpose, right? And that's what motivated me to join Prudential, because Prudential is not just about selling insurance, right? It's really about offering hope, right? For people to have a better future, right? A more and a more secure future. I hope that the little sharing that we have will help you. But before I leave, I just want to say that we've also launched a health app, and guys, we'll share a QR code later, because this health app will help you not be wealthier, but also healthier. And that's important.
The question is, beyond the hard skills required to successfully perform in a job in Prudential, what soft skills would serve the company best?
Definitely leadership skills. And when I say leadership, right, mistake that you have to be the manager. That is not actually true. I think when people step up to offer solutions, to play a leadership role, to even sometimes it's collaborating with their team and bringing them together towards working together for a solution, that is key. So that is a very crucial leadership skill. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Fiona, for taking your time to join us. It was such a great honor to share a stage with you. Okay, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with our last segment, The Future of Finance. Of the day, we'll share with and is currently the head of Finance, Transformation and Operations. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Yen Xiong.
Thanks, Anissa. Thank you.
you so much for being here. It's great to be with you. So, Yen Xiong, could you explain to us what does the head of finance transformation and operation does in Prudential?
Okay, probably start with good morning everyone again. So I'm Yen Seong. I've been with Prudential for about 10 years time, a little bit shorter than Fiona, who came out just now. My role with Prudential right now is mainly to bring in technology to transform the way that we
So lately I've been hearing a lot of buzz coming from the finance team. What exciting works are going on in the insurance industry in the finance area?
Okay. There are a lot of innovations and disruptions happening in the insurance industry. My mind would probably be fintech, financial technology.
Oh,
Yeah, so basically it's essentially about digitalization and the automation of the way that we do work. Yeah, so we insurance company in the past, we accept cash and also check as a payment to us. And in the past few years, we have been moving towards easy as I buying a tie or you buying a dress in the online
that
shopping
easy?
platform. Yeah. So it's just like Shopee and also Lazada, right?
just one click away.
Yeah. So that's one example. Then the other example would be on the doing mobile apps for their customers. Given that most of their customers prefer to use mobile apps rather than using laptop or desktop, and then this will help them with their customer experience. So in the background, what happened is also that actually for our internal processes, we started to use mobile app a lot as well already. Our stakeholders, they can actually use their mobile app and just review and approve the business case in the app. So that means you don't have to be with laptop all the time. You can do your work anywhere, anytime, as long as you have the phone with you. So there's much more flexibility for them. So the next more 17.
Oh, what is this IFRS 17?
Yeah, it is the entirely new insurance accounting standards for the insurers. Taken about 20 years to develop, and we still have about 2.5 years to implement. So it's going to change the entire way of how we are looking at our profits, and also it's going to impact how we run our business as well. Yeah.
So yeah, since you said it's going to impact on our insurance companies, so can you please help us understand more on how is this going to impact and what are the current works going on right now?
All right. So for IFRS 17, again, in a nutshell, it is a new insurance accounting standard trying to bring a single accounting model for all the insurance companies. So then we are using the consistent basis of valuation. We have the comparability of results and also very transparent disclosure. It's all trying to address, a lot of the old problems that we have, such as different companies using different valuation bases. Even for the same company in different countries, again using
They're all
different bases.
using different systems.
Very complex change, and also require a lot of work to be done. So that's why we have pulled together a team of our accountants, our actuaries to work with the also trying to develop our new accounting policy, set up the new processes, and also the system.
It's
There's
like
a lot of work
list
to do. Yeah.
The list never ends.
Yeah. But seriously, I see that as a once in a lifetime opportunity for anyone to be involved in such huge accounting change.
Hear that?
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime opportunity, guys.
So in fact, actually, I was almost the first one to raise my hand to lead the project once I heard about this opportunity.
That's amazing. Oh, would you like to tell us more about that?
Yeah. So when we just heard about although I won't say I'm linear, but I do fancy new things as well. So in the past, I was involved in, I think, say, for example, the rollout of the new regulations for the insurance industry. So that's why for this one, I'm equally interested. Once I heard about the opportunity, I want to be the first one to be involved, so then I can stay on the trend, you know, for the insurance industry.
A trendsetter.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. So when I say the word, the sentence, future of finance, what comes to mind and how do you be like?
All right, probably I will start with a lot of things that we are doing on the fintech. Well, probably you will ask why we do fintech. Actually, we are seeing that finance will be taking on more strategic responsibilities in the future and will be much lesser of a back office department who are focusing on the transaction processing and also the historical reporting. So that's why for us it's very important that we want to keep our finance equipped with the right processes. We can empower them to deliver more with the less effort involved and also to make sure that they are able to respond very quickly to all the changing business needs. So that was the big why we do fintech. And probably the next, what we have done so far, you will be interested to know. We have started our finance transformation journey about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And with the main objective of transforming processes that are to electronic and become automated. No more paper and much lesser spreadsheets flying around. Yeah.
Then again, environmental friendly, am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
So is that how you imagine the future of finance to be like?
Yeah, so with all these works that we are doing, I would imagine that in the future, finance will be doing much lesser of processing works, will be mostly done by robots. And for finance,
Robots?
yeah. Physical robot work here and there and do
I
the
thought
work for
physical
us.
robots.
No,
That
no,
would
no,
be
no, no,
pretty
no,
cool.
no. So it is a software robot that basically helping us to do the works that are repetitive and rule-based that traditionally done by humans. Say for example, for us, finance in the past during month end, when we receive certain reports, have hundreds and thousands of information, then we have to punch in the number one by one into the system.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine how much work will be involved and how boring it is, right?
Yes.
And so
That would
that's
be
one
very stressful,
that
right?
we are using robots. So would be that in the past when we receive multiple reports from the different stakeholders, again we need to put the report together, massage the data, all doing it in the spreadsheet, then try to combine it together, then only we get our results. But now these are done by the robots as well. Yes.
Okay. So did you hear that, finance and accounting students? There are opportunities for you to be part of the future in IFRS 17 and fintech and robots. So if you have any questions about IFRS 17 or any of the topics, send your questions to us via the chat box and we'll try our very best to answer them. I believe Iris is ready. Okay. How can fresh grads better prepare themselves to work in the future insurance industry?
Okay. That's a very good question. So for fresh grads, I think it's very important that nowadays in the insurance industry, aside for the few criteria that I mentioned by all my previous colleagues, there are a few things that you need to pay close attention to. Like say for example, the first one, analytical skills. We need to deal with large amount of data. We need to be able to analyze the data, then try to decouple a large complex problems into all the small pieces and try to come up with a solution. So that's first thing to make sure that analytical the communication skill. You need to be able, after you analyze the data, eventually you need to communicate your finding to people, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you need to be able to bring people to the same understanding as you have and make sure that they are convinced about it. And the last one, probably my favorite topic, it will be, it's very important to have sufficient IT knowledge as well. As we can see in the future, a lot of things will be done by machines, robots. So you have to know your friends well.
Okay, there's a question, finance. Would you prefer someone with finance or IT background?
Yeah, so similar to what I have just mentioned, it's very important for anyone in this role to have strong technical background, experience, understanding finance, and also have some basic foundation on the works. You need to know the topic. You need to be able to work with your IT colleagues in order to bring your work to the next step as well. So we all are working as a team. So we don't need to know everything, but we need to be able to know enough to work closely with the others to bring out the solution.
All right, thank you.
I believe that robots is going to replace us in doing processing works. But good news is that actually it leaves us a lot more interesting works to do, right? We still need to do a lot of analytical works, a lot of strategic works. So one thing that robot very different from us, human, we know original, we have creativity. We can create new products, we can create new business models, and we can even create the new IFRS 17 standard and interpret it, but the robot cannot.
Robots cannot, all right. Okay, thank you so much, Yan Xiong. That will be all. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end of our webinar. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Moisim, Karen, Fiona, and Yan Xiong, for sharing their expertise with us. Before we end this session, I would like to announce the winners from the Q&A. And the names are Samuel Thomas, Harris Daniel, Lee Kai Han, So Kah Yi, my and Farah and Fiona Tan. Apologies. Okay, so my team will be in touch with you guys. Without further ado, thank you to all our viewers for joining us today. I really do hope you had a fruitful session. Don't forget to follow us on our LinkedIn page, Prudential Assurance Malaysia Berhad. I wish you all the best and good luck.
Prudential at Malaysia University in culture and history. It resonates with Prudential heritage and our 95 years history in Malaysia. You will find distinctive Malaysian themes on all our floors. We have work cafes modeled either mama or warung, and collaboration areas with design that incorporate wayang kulit, wau bulan, songket, cinema, and many more. These different themes and features are designed with the purpose of integrating work and play at the office and foster greater employee engagement, nurture agile and collaborative ways of working. Our Inspire at Pru is our learning space that can accommodate 400 employees. It has the state-of-the-art technology that can provide live streaming across the whole work cafe collaboration area within the same building. Another upcoming pride of Prudential is our best-in-class childcare centre. As a caring employer and in line with our core values, that is care, Prudential will be the
organization. As an organization, it is important to be clear about why we exist and what we stand for. For Prudential Assurance Malaysia, we deliver our promises by providing financial freedom and peace of mind for all Malaysians. When we live our purpose, that's when we see the results. The trust from our customers, the pride we have in our employees, the good we can give back to our communities, the success we share with our partners, and seek new and better ways to deliver value to our customers. We are an organization that treats people with respect and genuinely care for our employees. We put people first and treat others for how we would want to be treated. The new agile work environment in Prudential promotes creativity and innovation at the workplace. Prudential's culture is all about how we live our